As soon as you create that VM, 50 gigs is completely allocated to that VM, even if that VM doesn't need the 50 gigs or whatever. Most of the time you will see that people use thin provisioning. It's the more efficient way to do things. That means it'll only take up the amount of space the VM actually needs, and then you can save space for if you're spinning up like a ton of VMs. And in an enterprise environment, you're going to see people doing thin provisioned VMs more often than not. Disk size, we don't need 32 gigs for this. We're only going to give it 16 gigs to start out with. We'll leave the rest of these settings default. Let's go ahead and go to CPU. We're only going to give it 2 cores. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. This OPNSENSE thing is pretty lightweight. It's not going to do a bunch of crazy stuff. We're not jumping on there and doing a bunch of compute, so we don't need to give it some crazy things. It's going to be a dual core processor. Type right here, we can emulate different CPUs. So you see like AMD and Intel and stuff like that. We don't need to choose that. We're going to go down to host. Now what host means is, hey, when you create this VM Proxmox, give it the CPU that the Proxmox server is using. So it's going to pass the CPU of the hardware into this VM. Let's go ahead and click on memory. Now, how much RAM do we want to give this VM, right? We're going to give it 4,096 megabytes, which is 4 gigs of RAM. Again, doesn't need it to be anything crazy. So this should be enough. If it's not, you can always modify these settings after the fact. Let's for the networking tab, I will explain networking after we've created the VM. I'm going to leave this as a default stuff right now. Let's just go ahead and hit next, and then Proxmox is going to ask you to confirm everything. So let's go ahead and hit click finish, which is right here. There you go, guys. The newly OPNSENSE VM that we just configured has been created. It's not started yet, so it's not booted up. That's why it says status stopped. If we want to double check stuff, let's take a look at hardware. We have the CD drive right here. The ISO is selected. We're going to go to options. We want to change the boot order. Okay, so I want the VM, when it starts up, I want to boot from this ISO that we're giving it. Okay, so let's go ahead and we can just disable the network card too. We're not doing some kind of pixie boot or anything like that, so I'm just going to disable that. So guys, to start your VM, you're just going to right click here on the navigation pane and just click start.